Previously on Let's Do Bonsai. So I'm going to use my scoop just to scoop some bits in. Plenty of organic in the mixture. No more procrastinating, no more putting things off. Let's get stuck in and then try and pull it out, and there we go. Just get some of our soil and tip that in. All we want to do now is take off some of these lower branches. Also, while I'm out here, I want to transfer a few of these Ficus religiosas, these sacred figs, into a couple of nice little pots that I found. Because what I keep finding is these little buggers everywhere all over are having an absolute field day munching on all the leaves. You can see here they've been absolutely devouring these ficus trees, so I want to get them out of these trays and away from these little snails. The pots that I've got in mind are these two lovely little pots. I've absolutely fell in love with these beautiful little pots. LLC or a G stamped in the bottom. I don't know what that represents. This one needs a little bit of that whiteness getting off it, but I'll be quite happy just to bear with that for the time being. But I do really like them, and I think these ficus trees will look really nice inside these two little pots. So let's start by taking this one out, and we'll just put the pots to one side. Now these I grew from seed, and they're about 3 years old now, and they've just grown and grown and grown. They've had dieback after dieback. The snails and other insects etc. have had their time with these, and they are also in that terrible soil at the bottom. So luckily enough, they are ficus trees, and ficus trees are pretty good hardy trees. They'll survive most things. So we do have the opportunity to straighten out these roots. You can see we've got roots that flow out and come down, but that one, as it comes out, goes up. But we may be able to, you know, bend that down and into a nicer position. And oh, that one's broke as I've tried to manipulate it partly. But yeah, if we just work away at these roots, you can see they're going to go into these little pots really well. The front of this one, I'm sorting this sort of area. So we've got the full trunk line going up. There's some branches coming out the back. There's a bit of flexibility in those. There is some flexibility in the main trunk. So after we've repotted it and it's become established, we may well be able to put some wire on these and work them into the position that we want, into the style that we might want. So I've just got the scissors that I use most recently, and we'll just see how much we would need to take off. So we would need to take off back to there. We can take all this downward growth off, and then that where it kinks round, it's already broken a bit there, so we'll put a cut into it there, and then we've got plenty for this to carry on. And ficuses are really good at rooting. You root them from cuttings, so there's no too much of a panic for what I've done here. They've grown really well in here, and they've continued to do well despite, you know, the snails etc. that are munching away on them. So we've got a base there, and then if we just push the roots outwards, we'll have our root that will grow radially from the base, hopefully, instead of straight down. And we'll see how that carries on for us. So we'll just get a little bit of screen. That's more than enough. And we'll just put a layer at the bottom, and then this being the front of our pot and this being the front of our tree, we can make our soil level suit the tree. We'll just there's not much root to work into, but we'll just work the soil. But I do like these little pots, and I'm hoping that these ficus trees like it too. So we'll just give that a little spray. And this is just rainwater from the barrels. I think that looks very nice. We'll take our little plastic hose indoor watering can, give it a delicate watering. And that's all flowing out of the bottom nicely. So we'll put that tree up and out of the way into a nice safe place and go with ficus number 2. So here's ficus number 2 out of however many, and you can see that the snails and slugs and whatever else have had a absolute feast on that. So on this one I'm going to take the top off of that and then hopefully we'll get some budding out from lower, and we can get this out of the pot and pot it into our other nice little pot. I'm going to use one of the pre-made drainage screens here for this one, and we'll just put a little bit of soil in the bottom for now. And now we can take the tree out and work on the roots. So if we lift this one out of the pot, you'll see that it's got the old soil in the bottom there, and we'll just get our rake and rake that out of the bottom. You can see we're very shallow with what's left, and the top layer of that is moss. So this tree's been growing really well with minimal amount of root, but again, as we said, the ficuses do grow really well. One of the main things to consider with a ficus when you're growing them is allow the roots to dry out so that they grow and search for moisture, as opposed to keeping them well watered, so that they don't have to grow and search. And a ficus in drier soil for a period of time will put out lots of roots to search for that additional moisture. So we've got our lower part of the barry level there, and we've got a couple of big roots that go out to one side, so we'll take them out off as they go down, and we'll be able to just bend them slightly and hopefully make sure that they flow out nicely. Bit difficult to choose a front on this, and I'll let the roots dictate that this will either be a front or this will either be a front, although looking at this root, it comes out and goes round, so it doesn't flow quite nicely. So we'll just knock plenty more of that soil off, and I think we'll take that root off to there, that root off to there, and just trim the finer ones. And we'll position this in the pot here, just off to the side, and allow these roots to go that way. So that will make this or this the front, but we can, you know, take branches off and mess about with branches to suit. So we'll just make that to one side. And we'll just make sure that the soil is into there. It sounds like the card on the GoPro is playing up again, so we'll have to rely on the footage from the Canon. So hopefully that's recording and getting plenty of this. We will go and sort out the GoPro before we go too much further. But I think that is pretty much gonna do it. Give that a little bit of a spray. It was lovely big thick moss that was growing on top of there, but you can see how thick that was. It was nice to get it away, and we'll get some more moss growing on that. But the battery was flat on the GoPro, that's fine. And we'll just give this a bit of watering in. and that'll flow through nicely through our pot, and you can see there how it sits in that pot really nice. And we'll put these to one side and allow them to grow on. So that's those two potted up nicely. We can see some nice looking trunk, and you know, hopefully the if we can keep the snails away, that will recover nicely and that will continue to do well. And I've got a selection of other pots for the rest of the for the ficus. Some that I might be able to put maybe 3 ficus in, so we have a mini forest, and some that will be singular like these. And we'll just have a quick look at those now. So here's a selection of the pots that I've got in mind. So this one would be nice as a singular tree. We've got a glazed blue one that will be nice. We've got an oval one that I got when I was down at Corrins. We'd probably squeeze 3 into there. We've got this really nice, it says Japan on the bottom there, you can see. It's cleaned up really nicely. I think we'll probably get 3 into there. We've got another circular pot which will do as a single. We've got a square pot which possibly a single, maybe more. We've got a handmade pot which just needs soaking in some white vinegar, but we'll get that sorted. We have another pot here which we'll get maybe 1 in, made in Japan written on the bottom. And then there's a couple more pots. These are all the pots that I was kindly given when I did my good deed, and they look really nice, and they'll certainly be able to be used going forward. And we've got all these ficus trees to pot up, so there's 8 in there, there's 2 here, and then we've got the desert roses. But we'll concentrate on the ficus and get these out of the way, because there seems to be snails in and around and underneath the pots. That one's got a lot of root coming out at the bottom, and then we can get rid of these trays that they're all laid in. So that's going to do it for me today here at Let's Do Bonsai. I'm Scott Winard. Get out there, make the best of the rest of your day, be kind to each other, animals and the planet, and as always, I'll see you again in the next one.